we are simply not going to go along to get along the Republican effort to continue to gut the health care of the American people. This is a cost of living issue, and it's a life or death issue for millions of Americans.
Senator, but we're talking about a continuing resolution to keep the government open and then going into the normal appropriations process. I mean, there was an election, and the Republicans were put in a position where they were able to pass the big, beautiful bill, or you call it the big, ugly bill, to then say, we don't like any of that, so we're going to shut down the government until you take back all the things that you duly passed through legislation. If Republicans had tried to do that to the Inflation Reduction Act or the any of the acts that Biden and that administration have passed, if they said, we're going to shut down the government because we don't like any of those things you did, we're going to not pay our military, we're going to, not allow the government to reopen until you do what we want. After an election where the American people put Democrats in power, you'd be going crazy. You'd be going crazy about using a shutdown of the government with a continuing resolution to get what you want just because you don't like what the Republicans did. It's not how it works. It's bad. It's bad precedent, and it's just clear. And you're talking about the House. You've already passed this. The Senate is who we're talking about, and they have a bill which will reopen the government right now with 5 more Democrats.
What is bad precedent is the Republican refusal to engage in bipartisan negotiations. What is bad precedent is the Republicans embarking on a my way or the highway approach from the very beginning of this Congress. Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Joe, you're exactly right. So if the government shuts down, they've made the decision to shut the government down. And they can reopen it right now if they chose to, with a rule change in the Senate. But I just explained it. The reality is they want to keep the government closed. Cruelty from the very beginning of this administration has been the point. And the responsible thing to do is to sit down and negotiate a bipartisan path forward. Listen, our position just remains clear. We just want to have a serious bipartisan discussion about reopening the government and enacting a spending agreement that meets the needs of the American people. And we disagree with the notion that the March partisan continuing resolution, which they put before us once again, is actually clean. No, it's not. We opposed it in March because it represented, in our view, an attack on veterans, an attack on nutritional assistance, an attack on women, infants, and children funding, an attack on housing affordability, and an attack on health care. That's not a clean continuing resolution in our view, and it was not bipartisan. Certainly that wasn't the case in the House.
But Leader Jeffries, I mean, we know that there are, varying opinions on both sides of the aisle, sharply differing opinions on how to do everything. And you've just outlined a lot of things that Democrats, a lot of problems they have with Republicans. Republicans have a laundry list of things that happened during the Biden administration that they feel the same way about. And I guarantee if they had shut down the government and said, we want a bipartisan talk on doing all this, but what Republicans want, Democrats, their hair would have been on fire. Democrats would have said that's not the way to do it. You can't do it through a government shutdown. And now you're employing that same tactic on what I'm sure you feel are very important issues, but it just looks like, politics as usual to a lot of people.
I think this is very personal for the American people who are at risk of literally experiencing thousands of dollars in a potential increase in their health insurance in a manner that will bankrupt many folks or deprive them of access to health care. We're talking about a married couple of 2 individuals, for instance, that makes $88,000 a year, currently receives tax credits from the Affordable Care Act and pays about $8,000 a year. Now, this is a situation that's already unaffordable, but their premiums may actually triple to $24,000 a year, unable to afford that. That's what we're talking about. And this is a very real thing that's happening right now.
We're not going to fix Obamacare or the ACA. There's a lot of issues that are caused, not just the expiration of the subsidies that are causing a lot of these problems. And you're not going to be able to fix it and negotiate it between now in reopening the government. You got to reopen the government first, and then get.
We made very clear at the beginning of September that we will find a bipartisan path forward to keep the government open and enact a spending agreement that meets the needs of the American people. What we also said is we will not support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people. But
it was already supported the
This wasn't
continuing
an
resolution.
11th hour position. It was a position that we articulated early on, and unfortunately, Republicans chose a my way or the highway approach that they
Democrats
are continuing
voted for
right
the
now
CR
in the Senate.
Initially. This is the same funding that was already passed by both houses.
I explained that Democrats in the House strongly opposed this spending bill in March because it hurt the American people.
Right.
And this current bill actually excludes about $500 million in funding in public safety grants that are provided to support local law enforcement. I don't have enough time to go through all of the problems with this particular partisan Republican spending bill, but they are numerous. And they all hurt the American people as opposed to helping the American people.